A few weeks ago, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture was giving awards, the National Arts and Culture Awards. And the minister said at the time something that was echoed even by the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, that the aim of the awards is to make sure that artists don't die poor. Because we've seen this thing happening with actors, musicians, sports people, all of them dying poor, or at some stage coming out and say, look, I'm hungry, I can't afford the basics, my children are being chucked away from school. It's something we even saw during COVID, whereby there were these artists that we've always known them to build a lot of money, to have a lot of material possessions, or to have shown us a lot of material possessions prior to 2020. But when COVID came, they were the first ones to say, look, we are having it hard. We are losing our cars. That's how government came up with an arrangement with banks not to repossess houses for those who are bonded and not to take cars for those who are financed. They said, look, our kids have to attend school through WhatsApp groups and other systems, and we can't afford data, can't afford Wi-Fi. And look, this trend of artists or entertainers in South Africa coming up later on in life at some stage and saying, look, I'm hungry, it's been going on for ages. It's going on for ages. But ages, I mean in the democracy, because before 1994, I don't remember any artist. I don't remember Mzwakhe Mbuli, PJ Powers, Pat Shange, Dalom Kids, Dan Chanda, Brenda Fassie, Rebecca Malopi, Yvonne Chakacha. I don't remember those, even the soccer players of the time, Jingles Pereira, Metro Blitz, Sithole, Peter Balak. I don't remember those coming out at some stage and saying, look, I'm broke, I'm hungry, government must do something for me, or the public should do something for me to help feed my family. A lot of these things started in 1994, whereby suddenly we thought, because now we live in a government that does not ban music, that doesn't ban books, that doesn't ban films, which means the actors or the people involved in the film industry or those involved in sports, because there were now sponsorship from Castle, from different. It used to be back in the days you'll have a JPS Cup, you'll have a Celsius Cup, but now there was more and more money coming into sports. And there was more and more money that sports people were earning, more and more money that they were getting, because most of them were starting their own labels. Remember 999, Athama Fokate, Kalawa Jasmine, a lot of music. People are now starting their own company. They're no longer going to the big guys, your CCPs, your Teal, your Task, companies that everyone will have said, no, they were ripping people up. BMGs, people were now starting their own things. They were able to make their own music. The artists, they were now owning their own masters. Some of them were even owning their own publishing. But surprisingly, a few years down the line, somebody says, look, I'm hungry. This is a subject that I'm very careful to engage in, because every time I do it on social media and I get rebuked. Hey, you never understand. Hey, you never understand. But I don't. Explain to me, like I'm a 12-year-old, how does somebody in a career that lasts 15 years manage to drive every expensive car that you've known, manage to live in the most expensive suburbs, manage to send kids to exclusive schools, but at some stage they say, I'm starving, and they've returned back to a shack in Mafikeng or Zerast or a shack somewhere in Emadadeni, and they say, I'm living here now, hey Nyanbona, Andinanto, nditya ukutya kwemagundane ndiphila namaphena apha impilo ubomi bam bonke bendini-entertaina ngoku andinanto. You entertain people all your life. And at some stage, those people that you entertain have to come and take care of you. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe so. If I came out and started voluntarily entertaining you, like now I'm posting this, I'm not collecting money to post these videos. Maybe at some stage I'm entitled to come back and say, hey Ananto, hey sendithengisa amabhuku wami apha emuva ngoba Ananto. Maybe I'm entitled to that because I'm not getting paid to do this. But now you've got people who were paid to entertain, to be on television, to make music. They will be booked. Some will be booked 100,000, 50,000, and at some stage they say don't match. Some die poor. And now Art and Culture says, look, we are going to try and we are going to make sure that they don't die poor. And what do? They make awards and then they give people checks. Let's say they give people 100,000 or 200,000. Well, I don't know what people do with 200,000, 100,000 on check. I don't know. I know people who go and get married. Like if he's got 100,000, if he's like, oh, I need another wife. Give him 200,000. I need 2 more wives. So which means the expenses are not going to go down. They're going to match whatever the person is getting. But there's a point that is being missed with artists in South Africa. Look, I don't want to moralize because I'm an artist. And I say this with absolute sincerity that you'll never fundraise for me. I'll never come to you and say, buy me bread. I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. I'm not a high-ranking artist, as in 100,000 rand booked booked to appearance fee. Hey, 25,000 rand. I don't have the benefit of appearance fees, but I'm an artist. I write books. I write poetry. Once in a while I write films. Once in a while I record music. And quite recently I've taken up painting, visual art. And I can tell you, and no government department can say they've ever booked me to come and perform. No booking agency, no promoter can say they've ever booked me to come and perform for them and paid me. They've not done that. None of my books is at the big shops, at Exclusive Books. You won't find it. It's not there. None of my books has been reviewed in your big publications. Yeah, I've never been invited to talk about my book at the popular podcast. But I can tell you with sincerity, you're not going to fundraise for me now. The question is, how are our artists not good enough to take care of themselves at old age? They die young. Mam Nyembe just passed on quite recently. And before that, she came out really in a very serious state. Vusitanda is one of those that also came up and wanted people to fundraise. Another actor, they call him Babum Kleche from Uzalo, came out as well having problems. I've seen lots and lots of such situations in music, with musicians as well. But look, here's what I think is happening. I might be wrong. Don't take my word for it. When you look at the actors and actresses from other countries, the black ones, I focus on the black ones from America, for example, that we have known, Halle Berry, Gabrielle Union, Denzel Washington, Morris Chestnut, Lawrence Fishburne. I can count them. Will Smith. You realize that you knew them as actors in the 80s and in the 90s, or even early 2000. But now you know more about them as being producers. They've now went behind the camera. They spend their time in front of the camera, they build their brand, they build their names there, which makes it easy for them to go to studios now later, because if a Spike Lee goes to a studio and says, I've got a film and I want the studio to back me up, if he's been in front of a camera and was good, he was Denzel Washington, the studio's going to believe, oh, you're going to star in your films, yes. They're going to back him. Likely. Queen Latifah has done it. In South Africa also had the same thing. Connie Ferguson has gone from being in front to being behind. Leleti Khumalo has gone from being in front to going behind, and sometimes in front because it's nice sometimes to be in front. And the question I've asked is it forbidden for most of the actors that later complain of not having money to move from the front to the back? Is it forbidden? I know your answer might be they don't have money to do that. True. But I'll give you a simple example, but I'm not going to mention names. Forgive me for that. Of two actors I know, quite successful actors, that I meet in some of these places they will meet, and I pitched to them and said, look, I've got this other project. We're having a conversation, it wasn't even a pitch. I said, no, I've got this other project, I've done the synopsis, I've done the treatment, I've done the story, the character Bible, I've done half the work actually, and all I want us to go on this thing together. We'll become executive producers, you and I. We develop the script together, and then you're going to start this thing, and then you're going to take this thing to film festivals. And they've said, no, they like the idea. Say, no, can you email it to me? And then, so I can take a look and let's tell me. I said, no, I want you to be on it. 50%. I can direct it. You can be executive. We become executive producer, but I can direct it. And we can both be producers and executive producers, and we can do this thing. We can go hustle money at IDC funds, NVF. And I can tell you 10 out of 10, all of them didn't follow up. They'll be like, oh, I'm shooting, and they're actors, I'm shooting. They don't grab opportunities that are being presented to them to move from in front of the camera to go behind the camera. And I'm not saying they get those kind of pitches all the time, but they probably get those pitches sometimes. Musicians, putting together a studio doesn't cost much. I've always wondered, you're a musician or so. You mean all the time when you're making those 200,000, you couldn't just assemble a mini studio whereby later on in life when the music is no longer selling, you're singing a kind of music, you're singing quiet, it's no longer selling, you can even just start recording other people. You could even start recording gospel. Gospel groups can come to you and record music, and you can become a producer, or you can just own a studio, the least, invest in the industry. My point is, sometimes you get in these things of people really complaining about the industry not taking care of them, because when they are making the money, they don't invest in the industry they're in. Lots and lots of black Hollywood actors are now directors, they're now producers. Some own studios. Some musicians, they own studios. Some even own stakes in fashion brands, in other avenues in the entertainment industry. But in South Africa, people don't do it. Here, all you know is that people brag. At the peak of their careers, they'll show you how many cars they buy. I've got a Bentley. I've got this. Oh, God is good. Oh, God is good all the time. Oh. Show all the material they buy. Some material goes up to 5 million. Somebody will be having this thing costing millions. I'm not saying they buy it because some of this thing can be financed through credit. But when you're financed through credit, you are servicing the debt. And I'm like, but dude, you lived in Waterfall Estate. You drove a Bentley, you drove a G-Wagon, and at some stage, we have to come and bury you. We have to pay, we have to buy you food. You come and say, oh, I'm not suffering. Why the fuck should you do that? Why should South African society continue to bury people who at some stage were earning 10 times what they were earning? It's entitlement. Arts and culture should really, it's not even about education, it's about people really being humans. Stop this thing of saying because I'm an actor, when the dancer yells cut, you just go and hang around Newtown, along Long Street. Go home, buy bread, go and fry eggs, be like everyone, you are a worker. Until artists and soccer stars deal with the fact that they are workers like everyone else, you'll have this problem. Buy funeral cover. Why does it need to take government to bury you? Why can't you just get funeral cover like everyone else? Buy funeral covers. They're paying 90 rand, 100 rand, 200 rand from banks. Banks offer you funeral covers these days. Why don't you just buy one? Why is it so hard to buy a funeral cover of 90 rand so that when you die, people don't need to gather and pull money to bury you? I think I might be too hard on people. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe I'm just speaking as an artist, not as an athlete. I don't understand how athletes do. But entitlement is the death of many people. And certain society needs to tell people to get off. When people post those expensive things, those Gucci bags, people need to tell them, fuck it, don't come to us at some stage complaining about being hungry. Because we see you. You are using us. You're using us as sounding boards to break at us and using us to come and bury you. Let's become better people. Like and subscribe to SAP, as African Perspective, and let's teach them. They are our family members. To say, look, you're not a celebrity. You're like a teacher. You're like a police person. You are an ordinary person. Stick to that lane. Play your part. And don't try to be big. Buy a funeral cover. Patala bloko. So that when you're dead, die with dignity. And get buried with dignity. Instead of living high life. And then at the end of the day, you just become a burden to everyone else. You die without dignity and you're living shame on your own family. Like and subscribe, ASAP, as a perspective. Let's make the sector bigger.